Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beyond Grad Show. We are supposed to be live, and I went to the wrong studio. Hari was in the right studio. It was a unique mess, but we figured it out, and we are here. Hari, I would love for you to give me us a quick introduction, and then I'll get into the first question right away.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me here, Varun. I saw the lineups, like all my friends in the lineup, and like, it's like inspiring folks. I'm happy to be a part of that. And kudos to you for starting this and giving back to the community. Um, you should have told me about the background and stuff. Yours looks much prettier than mine. But about the intro, I'm Hari. If anyone who's watching me live wondering why I should watch this guy talk about AI, I think I might have worked in AI for past 2 3 years to maybe talk about it. So I did my master's in data science from Columbia. So I spent my time in New York. I think most of the people on LinkedIn might know me as the guy who left America to London because of the number of posts I'm posting about that. So you might know that already, I guess. If not, I was in New York, now I moved to London. So I used to work as a data scientist in a gaming company. Right now, I'm working as a senior AI engineer in a startup, Series A startup. And one more update coming soon. I might not be senior AI engineer for more than a month, but more on that later, Varun. Yeah.
No, I mean, come on, we cannot go further than that. By the way, if you're joining us live, we would love to kind of say hi to you. So, in if you're joining us on LinkedIn or YouTube, go to the comment section, say hi. I'm so and so from this particular country or region. We would love to say hi to you. But you left a crumble there that I had definitely have to pick up, Hari, which is what's changing with that.
I'll do the official announcement soon because it's live, or
Okay,
I can tell you privately later. But
okay.
yeah, maybe like I'm just thinking of starting something on my own.
Okay, awesome. Very cool.
Yep,
We can
yep,
definitely get into a little bit of that down the line.
sure.
Uh, Here's something that is going on in my mind right now to set the stage for everybody who's watching this, either live or recorded. We are trying to see how I can use your expertise to help people project build their way to AI roles. Because
Hmm.
a lot of people right now want to transition, want to make sure that they are up to date and current with what the market needs.
Yep.
To set the stage, I know you were a data scientist, data analyst in the past. What is the gap right now? If you are a data analyst or a data scientist and you want to get into an AI role within the company or outside, what is the gap right now?
The gap, more than the gap, it's like a mindset shift. Uh,
Okay.
the AI engineering is not an upgrade from a data scientist. A lot of data scientists think like that, right? Like they think, hey, I'm a data scientist today. People think this for data analyst to data scientist, right? That might be true with data scientist because you just have to add one or two more skill sets from a data analyst, then you become a data scientist. But from data scientist to AI engineer, it's not an upgrade. It's completely different path. If at all it's an upgrade for software engineers. So if
Hmm.
you are a software engineer, it's not an upgrade, but it's more of like a different path for software engineers.
Hmm.
Um, so, because why I'm saying this is AI engineer is not an AI researcher. This is another misconception. I know I'm talking about a lot of misconception. I'll come to the question from there. But other misconception is AI engineer is different from AI research guy. Like a data scientist might build models, machine learning models from scratch. They understand the data, bring out insights and all those things, right? As an AI engineer, you don't do any of those things. You don't even build any model. An AI engineer, you Google the definition of AI engineer, you will see that an AI engineer is someone who uses existing AI models to build systems and workflows around it.
Hmm.
So, which means you're technically a software engineer. A software engineer takes existing database or all the existing things to build a system around it. That's what you're doing. But with AI, that's why you are called an AI engineer.
Hmm.
So, so if you, what was the question again? Sorry, I got distracted.
I'll ask the question again, but I'll also paraphrase for my understanding and for people's understanding.
Hmm.
You are saying that an AI engineer role is not an upgrade from a data scientist, it's
Yep.
probably a mindset shift,
Yep.
and that you are playing a role a little bit closer to what a software engineer does in
Yep.
this AI engineering role. And
Yep.
I think probably that is a good lead into me asking that question again, which is what is that gap like
Mhm.
between a data scientist and somebody who's a data scientist but is ready to take on an AI engineering role?
Yep. Simple answer is software engineering skills is a gap. But to give a detailed answer, as a data scientist, I always had maybe a business mindset or research mindset. But with AI engineering, I might have thought like a back-end engineer a little bit, but not
Mm.
much with the data science role that I had. But with AI engineer, I have to think like a software engineer end to end. I have to think about scalability. I have to think about like latency. I have to think about like these things. You never come across these words in data science. Like you work in like how to call it. You might build products or something. You might do A/B testing and stuff, but you are somehow supporting another team within the company. And there are product data scientists, but still it's not as consumer facing as an AI engineer role. Because a small tweak that you make today, it's gonna directly affect what the consumer is gonna see. And that is uh, that looks flashy, that looks nice, but it's also huge responsibility and it's scary. This
Hmm.
was the gap that I had when I moved on from the previous role to this. And that is one thing that you might have to fill, which you can do if you start thinking like a software engineer. What else? Uh, I think the other thing could be not getting carried away with all the LinkedIn influences, whatever they're trying to say. So I see the roadmap to become an AI engineer. I've seen this from many people, and you know the behind the scenes, Varun, and I know what happens. Like whenever they put a roadmap or whenever they put all these things, they typically outsource the work, the bullet points, and everything, and they just put it. Most of them are wrong. You don't need to learn like detailed machine learning models, like the theoretical stuff, mathematical stuff for to become an AI engineer. But if you ask me, does it help or does it like make you a better foundational guy? Yeah, obviously. Like in that case, we should learn everything, right? We should know what chip is there inside my computer. I should know how my M4 chip works. How is it compared to M3? But that will give me a better understanding. I agree. I'm not trying to say no to that. The argument is always that, right? They always say that, hey, that is foundation. How can you skip the foundation? I agree, but that you don't do that in your job. So if you are interested, feel free to learn it. But the roadmap is much simpler, actually. Like you don't have to do all the things that people are mentioning, but you still have to do, as I mentioned, learn the software engineering skills. And now you learn how to work with all the foundational models, like how to build with LLM, how to build, like there are a few systems that you might have to learn, like the RAG system and the agentic AI system. And these things might be new. Even the software engineer doesn't know these things. And if you learn these two, you are the best AI engineer out there.
Okay. I can go two places here. We can go deeper into the roadmap, or I can ask you a surface level question, which is if you want to be an AI engineer or have an AI role at the company, does it benefit you to have a software engineering background as compared to somebody who's gotten into data without a software engineering background?
So I see it this way. So interest is what defines you to make you better in the next role, right?
Mhm.
Today, data scientists are super interested in becoming an AI engineer
Hmm.
because they think that's a hype, and they technically have the mindset. They know what is evaluation, they know how what is training, what is testing, what is fitting a model. These concepts might apply here and there a little bit, so that makes them have the most energy and enthusiasm to learn AI. That makes them a better AI engineer. But for software engineers, uh, they already are doing the software stuff. They already are building backends. They're already building systems. So if they had to learn, they just have to learn the two systems that I mentioned: the RAG system, the agentic system. It's not like giving them enough high that they're not taking that high interest in coming and learning AI. And another thing is today every app that you see online is an AI app. We can't deny that, right? A software engineer always has a spot in that app. Like he is the one who's gonna build a backend and front end for this. But there is very less scope for data scientists in the app, at least in the initial stage. If that's the case, if the data scientist learns AI, now he just broadened his scope of getting a job, or like he just made himself more employable by learning AI. But for software engineer, he's always employable, like from a product perspective. So maybe that's why. So whoever has the more interest. If you're a software engineer and if you have more interest to learn AI, of course you have the better unfair advantage to come and do that.
Hmm. What were you asked in interviews for a AI engineering position that would trip anybody who has a data analyst or data scientist experience as compared to software engineering experience?
Uh, one thing which was like very clear to me was they expect you to know the end to end stuff. Like you should know how to deploy the products that you build. You should know a little bit of like cloud technologies. So these things, as a data scientist or data analyst, you don't have to. You would never do it. There will be another guy who will be doing this. But as an AI engineer, you have to know this. You should know. You have to keep these things in mind when you're building stuff. So because of that, if you lack those things as a data scientist and data analyst, it will be super difficult. So if I have to do this as a data scientist, I was a data scientist, right, when I was doing it. I can give you a better like a plan or roadmap how to go to become an AI engineer. For Sorry if I'm not sticking to the template of questions that
That's
you asked. Yeah.
perfectly the segue, right?
Okay.
The
Okay.
reason why I asked you the interview questions is because that's the gap that you have to cover, at least
Hmm.
initially, as you
Hmm.
continue to prove that you have the capabilities to get there.
Hmm.
So please go into the roadmap. At the same time, if one or two exact questions come to mind from
Hmm.
your interviews, I think
Hmm.
that will help the listener bridge the gap and then understand why that roadmap is effective.
Perfect. Then I'll do that first. I'll answer the questions, actual question that you asked. So since I was focusing on getting into a startup, that itself is another mindset shift. I was working in a corporate and I was interviewing for startups. The startups don't just ask you technical questions. They ask questions based on the outcome. And by the way, if you're watching this, you know, like Varun shares all these interview tips, like STAR method and every method that you want to know, just stalk his LinkedIn, you'll get that. So those kind of questions are very important right here. Like you have to show how you tackle a problem, how you show the outcome. So I remember in almost every non-technical interview, I was getting these questions. And also one interview I had was more of like system thinking, just like how I would scale it, how I would build the product, like nothing technical. They were not asking me to code. They were not asking me to like in this one interview. They asked me to code in one round, but this is another round. But they just were making me think how I would design a system in a non-technical way. And one more interview was kind of semi-technical. In that interview, it's mostly little bit of AI. So it's like building the RAG system, how I would build the agentic system. They asked me to open a whiteboard and they asked me to like just put like blocks and stuff over and here and there. I still didn't show how I would code. They were not asking for the syntax. They were not asking for like exact line of code I would write, but instead more of a system level thinking and like how I would design the building blocks of it. There was a technical interview, which is a take home assessment. So in that, uh, it was kind of like they gave me a very huge problem statement and they asked me, hey, build an entire system end to end. And this is the timeline. Use any AI apps that you want, ChatGPT, Cursor, Cloud Code, whatever you want, but build that entire thing and give it to me by this time. So the company that I got the offer from, they gave me 4 hours deadline. I finished it in 2 hours because I kind of use AI, just like spent like doing this faster using AI. I finished this, and then there was a follow-up call asking me to explain what the project is, how I did it. So if you think about it, this is not super technical how it used to be. I didn't do everything. I didn't write every line of code from scratch because you don't have to. It became using an AI became so norm that people are asking system level design questions, how you would think on a higher level, like how you would solve problems. And also to show that, hey, now I give you a problem. Are you technically capable to finish this and give it to me? I coded it, but I used AI as an assistant to code it for me, right? So ultimately, this is what people are looking for. So I know I didn't give you the exact question that people ask, but you can get the idea what kind of questions I might have asked based on this, right?
Yeah, let me take a shot at it. I think having a systems level understanding, being able to prototype that systems level understanding that goes beyond typically what probably a data analyst or a data scientist does, and then having the ability to explain it and then to deploy it is what was the differentiator uh, from
Exactly,
from what you were saying. Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
great. So then the next question is, how do you get that? So what is would be a roadmap? Give me a high level first, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty.
Sure. I mean, instead of making a theory, I'll tell you what I did to get here.
Yeah, perfect.
My path was like everyone. I got fascinated by AI. I was like, hey, this is super cool. I started learning the basic stuff like everyone, and I started digging deeper. Started watching videos like everyone. Then something changed. Like I was like, okay, what next? How am I gonna implement this? One good thing is I have a job. I have set of people who might be who might benefit from what I'm learning. So the next thing I did is I went to my manager. I was a data scientist. I was doing all the machine learning stuff. I went to my manager. I started pointing out, hey, there are a list of problems I think we can solve using AI. And I started implementing the AI in my current role as a data scientist. Is it beyond the scope of my like paycheck, or like is it beyond the scope of my like job role? Yeah, obviously. But I was just interested in doing that, and like I got some projects, and one project that I started working on actually had a very big problem. And since AI was the hype, everyone wants that project as well. So I started building on that project. So I would say I had an unfair advantage here. If you don't have that job, or if you don't have that like space where you can go and explore doing a real project in your company, you have to do side projects, right? Like to solve a problem. So, but either way, I would say starting the roadmap is starting with a problem. Take a problem which is real, like taking like it could be your current job role. Even if it's out of the scope of your job role, just try to find a problem wherever, like in your help your coworker, help your stakeholder, help your manager, or help yourself in your company. In fact, that's what I did. So the AI system that I was trying to build was like an AI data scientist. So I was trying to replace myself using AI in my previous role, and because I knew exactly what the process is because I've been doing that for 3 years. I was like, there is no one else who's better to automate this system because I've been doing this for 3 years. So I used that as a leverage. I pitched to the stakeholder. I was talking and I was building a prototype on that. And that's how it went. So I used that as a real project. And that project helped me to get this job, like now. And coincidentally, the job that I got, they hired me because they want me to do a similar project in this company. So yeah.
Okay, we definitely have to pause here because you shared a lot of golden nuggets. One thing I will say from my experience in the automotive world, I have 14 years of experience. The only way I was able to go from engineer to senior engineer, staff engineer to eventually becoming a partner at my consulting company was having played the role first and then the title followed. What I'm
Hmm.
trying to say here
Yeah.
is if you are trying to be an AI engineer and if you have what Hari said, the ability to pitch products internally, I think that would be a great value add to really be the person, be the title before you are able to get the title. So that's one nugget that I want to highlight. The other is you went in there with some projects available to discuss with your manager.
Hmm.
Now, the project that you have, the one where you were trying to replace yourself, first of all, you knew all the job responsibilities. So you could clearly see what this thing needed to do, what this project needed to do. But
Hmm.
did you need the understanding of how to build the project to even propose it in the first place?
Hmm.
And if so, what did you need to learn to be able to pitch this?
Okay. So maybe we'll get little technical here.
Yeah.
So I would say, so I would divide AI into like four layers. I'll tell you the layers. I didn't do everything from scratch on day one. When I pitched, I'm sure I didn't know all the layers. I just knew the first or second layer and just went and pitched it. But like the layer one is literally a chat GPT wrapper. Like you take an existing AI model, you use it. So every AI model has an input and has an output. You just build something out of it. I'm pretty sure people are already doing it. People who are watching, everyone might have done something like this. You going and prompting into ChatGPT and doing something, right? Or even if you have built a custom GPT on ChatGPT, you don't have to be technical to do that. You technically built a ChatGPT wrapper on ChatGPT itself, right? You
Mhm.
just didn't build a front end and back end for it. That's it. So this is like a kind of like a first layer.
Mhm.
This is super outdated. Like if you are in like 2023, maybe you might have gotten a job with this, but in 2026 you might not. But the second layer, even this is outdated. The second layer, but it's mandatory. So second layer is called the RAG system that I mentioned. So what people did is like with AI, okay, now I have a foundational model which has I can build wrappers, I can build any applications around it. But AI is very restricted. It has a cutoff date, it has like a set of knowledge, which is not enough to solve my problem. What can I do? So RAG came into picture. I'm making it super semi-technical because I don't know what kind of audience is here. If you want a technical question, or Varun, if you think this is super naive, I'm happy to dive deeper into technical things. But
This is perfect
okay,
for the audience that I have in mind. If that is
okay.
a technical question, by the way, guys,
Hmm.
please add it in the comment section on LinkedIn or on YouTube. I do see a few comments and questions come in already. Somebody asked whether you can get the recording. Of course, this is live on LinkedIn and YouTube, so you'll get the recording there. I don't want to get away from what you were saying, Hari. So layer
Yep.
one was prompting with a chat with a bot, an AI bot, ChatGPT,
Yep.
Claude, whatever.
Yeah. A
Layer
wrapper.
two is RAG
Yep. A RAG
and
is like
continue.
a RAG is like taking the AI, the model that you have, and connecting it to a private database. So it could be just a table, it could be an Excel sheet, it could be a PDF, or it could be there's something called vector database. That is a new thing that got super hyped up after the AI. You might have, if you're a data guy, you might have worked with like SQL database, but vector database is an optimized database just for LLMs. So RAG was a thing, it was hyped up in like what 2023, 2024ish, I guess. So that was the hype, and like I had that knowledge when I pitched it to my manager. But eventually, I started working on the third layer, which is the AI agents. And then,
Let me
yep,
pause here because
yep,
maybe this is a question that I have and a lot of other people might have. So a RAG based system, you are trying to give it more training material in a way.
yep.
Is that correct?
You're not training it; you're just giving it reference.
Okay. So adding
Yeah.
context that is
Yep,
specific to your use case. And
yep.
how do you do that?
Okay, so that's where the vector database is one of the biggest RAG systems that you can build. So a SQL, let me give you a comparison between SQL database and vector database. A SQL database is like you just have table of multiple rows, and every row is gonna have some sort of data to it, right? And the problem with SQL database is, let's say you have row number one and row number two. There is no relationship between row one and row two. You just store random data, and that is not good for LLM to go through every single row and go and get context from it. Instead, vector database is kind of like you convert text into numerical format. Let's say I have a paragraph. Let's say I have a paragraph like Varun is a LinkedIn influencer, and let's say Hari is a LinkedIn influencer. So let's call it something. Hari is a content creator. Let's say if that's the thing. These two sentences are kind of related to each other. So when you store it as a text, there's no context from it, but you convert the text into vectors, which is nothing but is just a list of numbers. When you convert the number, now these two sentences will have like a vector which will be closer in the dimension. So now you take all the set of paragraphs, lines of text that you have, and you put it in the database. When you store it, Uh, Text which is kind of like has similar meaning will be closer to each other and will be grouped together. So now when you use that as a context for the LLM will be easy to find the context based on your question, and you can easily find that particular group and you can use that group to answer the question that you ask. I know this is the most semi-technical way I've ever explained a RAG, but this is what RAG is. It's very simple. People are complicating it very, very simple. So
Very cool. It's like you are showing dependencies and similarities between different textual data where the
exactly.
text would not be able to say it. It would be context, people's mind, which would be able to link, okay, influencer is also equal to a content creator, but you are giving this numerical value to this LLM to do that. That
Yeah.
is the second layer, which is already interesting to me.
Mm,
How do you build that? How do you build the second layer? Like, how do you, what tools do you use to
mm,
create this RAG, and then how do you connect it to
mhm.
the chatbot?
Cool. There are many tools. There are many vector databases. For example, Pinecone is the market leader, but it's not
Hmm,
open source, so it's not free. But if that's the easiest way to get started, there is a free
hmm,
version. If you're exploring, I always teach my students like to use like Pinecone.
hmm,
And if you want free open source version, every other database, the SQL database that they use, they are trying to compete here. They all have a vector database as well. Like there's PG Vector from Postgres, and there is Mongo. Mongo has their Atlas, I guess, for Mongo vector database. So these are the vector databases that you can use, opt in for, where you can store the data. And for the LLM, the ChatGPT wrapper remains the same. You still have the same thing, but this time whenever you query, whenever the input goes in, the input is not just your query. Instead, there is a reference database that's connected. So now you take this input, you get the relevant chunk. Chunk is relevant groups from the vector database and use additional context. And now you put that also inside the ChatGPT wrapper. Now, the ChatGPT wrapper, I'm just making that as an easy statement, but the AI model, the foundational AI model, now has your query. It has additional context and it gives an output based on that. And when you say tool, there's no specific tool, but generally a famous framework that is like people use is called LangChain. So LangChain is like a scikit-learn for AI. And by the way, what is scikit-learn? Scikit-learn is like a library that every data scientist knows. So LangChain is like just a framework to make AI engineers' life easier. So that's an open source framework. They just put together so that we don't have to write lines and lines of code. We just have to import it and we can use it easily. But if you're getting started in AI, by the way, opt in for Python because that's the most uh, people are trying to build like AI projects with JavaScript, but still Python is the best today. There is a bigger community for AI in Python. So the tools, just list it down instead of a long answer. Python, LangChain, and any vector database, like for the layer two, like Pinecone, PG Vector, Qtrant, Mongo, Atlas. There are many more. If you just search for vector database, you'll get everything. Yeah, that is layer
awesome.
two.
Okay, we'll go to layer three. I because I know that there is a certain segment who understands exactly what you're saying, and a certain segment that who's learning this as alongside me as well. Because I'm an automotive engineer by profession. The only coding I've done is in C and MATLAB. I know I can take on Python easily if I want to, but
Hmm.
for this part of our session, I'll focus on people who have a basic understanding of whatever you said so far in
Sure.
level two. Near
Hmm.
the end, we'll come back to how to even get to level two because I think a lot of people are stuck in the level one phase.
Hmm.
I do have a few questions, but if they are not directly related, we'll take them in the end.
Sure.
Right now, definitely people are liking the difference between the SQL database and the vector database. So that's pretty cool. Let's go to level three, Hari. I think I'm interested to know what the level three of this roadmap looks like.
Okay. So the level three is agentic AI. Everywhere. You might have heard this word overused everywhere. Twitter, Reddit, LinkedIn, YouTube, everyone is using this. And I think it justifies the hype.
Hmm.
So what is like agentic AI. In simple terms, uh, I'm not trying to fill any like definition or anything because there are people who are doing this. But like in simple words, agentic AI is nothing but now AI can answer your question. There is input, there is output. It can refer to your database, it can give answer based on that. It's good, but there is a core problem with this. Let's say, I'll take an analogy for this. Let's say Varun is here, and if I go and ask something to Varun, let's say he gives me answer for that. That is one Varun, and I go and ask Varun something, and he does it for me. That is another Varun. Let's say,
Hmm.
whom do I value more, or who do I think I'm more like smarter, better, like intelligent, like who is better in this case?
Never ask my wife this question, by the way. It will be a very dangerous question. But yeah, obviously, I think if you can get the right level of work done for you, where you don't have to go back and correct it or adjust it, and that takes you longer than what you would have gotten from the output, then yeah, definitely number two is always better.
Yeah. In other words, to just like rephrase that,
Hmm.
the level one Varun
Hmm.
is still smart. He's answering
Hmm.
all my questions. But the
Hmm.
problem is Varun is just using his brain, right,
Hmm.
while doing that. But the second Varun, when I ask him, he's using his brain, but he's also using his hands, legs, everything to do the job for me.
Hmm.
Now that's the problem with AI. Till now, the AI is answering his questions. It's a Q&A chatbot. Chatbot has been there forever. It's just giving better answers today. Who cares? Like if you ask, hey, I have to quit my job, and if AI is giving me an answer for it, we know it has been doing that since 2022. It has been doing that, but I want the next step. I want to give hands and legs to my AI. That's where agentic AI comes in. And agentic
Hmm.
AI is like you give the AI a set of tools and tell that, hey, now you don't just answer the question because you have the brain. You know you're smarter than me. I know that you can access these tools better than me. I'm just giving you that flexibility to access the tool, and you go and give that to the AI. Now, AI will have access to multiple tools that you give. And instead of you being the decision maker whether to do something or not, now AI will do that for you. So now let's say hypothetically, instead of saying, hey, whenever like let's say whenever I get an email, I go to my email, copy paste something like and put it in ChatGPT and say how should I reply to this and get the reply and send it. So this is my AI is involved, but just the brain is involved. But instead, if I give my access, entire Gmail access to my uh, the system, agentic system that I built, and say, hey, don't reply to every email, or I don't have to say all these things, right? Like let the email comes and you take care of it. I give you the decision power. Sometimes there'll be a marketing email, you won't reply to it, you know that. Sometimes there'll be like an email from Varun asking for an interview. Can we do this on this day? You can't ignore that. And and now there might be some other emails which is like might be first priority or second priority. Just put it in my to do list or something like that. You make the decision. You have the brain. You make the decision. I just give you the set of tools, right? Like I to give access to write email. I should give access to what like my calendar. I should give access to my to do list app, and you take care of everything and you do the things for me. Now this is an agentic system, right? Now
Hmm.
this is the next hype. Like this is the level three layer, and this could be anything. There is something called agentic RAG. Even in the second layer, the RAG was like a forced step every time.
Hmm.
So always go and read the database and get context was layer two. But if you do that in an agentic way, you'd say that, hey, now RAG is a tool. You use
Hmm.
this tool. You don't have to refer context every time. If I say hi, don't go and refer my entire book and say hi to me. Just
Hmm.
say hi if it's hi. But if I ask something deeper, go and refer that and give me an answer.
Hmm.
So that is agentic RAG, right? Like
Hmm.
now we are giving agentic functionality to AI, and basically you're giving hands and legs to the AI. So this is where level three came, and I think agentic RAG, agentic AI is still a hype.
It's still a hype. Okay, I definitely have to ask you about that.
Yep,
But this is where tools like N8, N8N, and tools like that come
yep,
into the picture, correct?
yep, yep, yep.
Okay, let's talk about why it is hype. What do you
Mhm.
mean by that?
I mean, I said hype in a positive way, actually. Like, it's not
Hmm.
overhyped or an underhyped. I think it
Okay.
deserves the hype, whatever it gets.
Okay.
I said it's still a hype for a reason. Like, I mean, agentic AI has been there for more than 2 years now, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
people have been talking about this, and even now, people are building agentic systems. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
like that's where we are headed. You might wonder then what is level four? We'll come there soon,
Yeah, of
but
course.
but yeah, so I meant it in a positive way. It is still a hype because there are so many use cases for this. Like you think about it, right? Like today, if we do any work, almost any work that we do that using a computer. So which means even though I mean hands and legs, we don't want the AI to do with hands and legs. That goes into robotics and stuff. But the AI
Hmm.
that I mean, if it can control your computer, it can literally do anything that you are doing right now. It
Hmm.
can come on behalf of me and attend this podcast. It can
Hmm.
go and do my tomorrow's work. It can do everything, but we still haven't even achieved that yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, which means uh, it's gonna stay in hype even for next 1 or 2 years at least.
Cool. So basically, the what you mean by hype is that this is where the attention is, and
Yep,
deservedly so.
yep,
And there, it has a long tail, so there is still a lot to be made or produced using this. So,
yep, yep,
uh,
yep,
just a few comments while you are saying all this, just to keep you motivated,
yep,
if I need to. But yeah, I mean, semi-consciousness or agentic AI, where it is doing the work for you, I think it is really cool and really exciting. Another interesting comment here, where they are talking, this person is talking about a recent financial analysis project. System was entirely sequence driven, modeling temporal price movement, where order and state transition mattered more than similarity. It really shows how understanding data structure directly impacts AI system design. So I think where again validating your point about sequential data versus vector based data and how that additional context improves the output.
yep. Yep. And also they are talking about the temporal data.
Yeah.
So to be honest, even today, with like temporal data is the kind of like time based data.
Mm-hmm.
So those things even AI struggle today. It's very difficult for the AI. There are workarounds. There are people building it on, but I still didn't see a best solution yet. Like it
Mm-hmm.
still struggles to read the entire database connection that we're giving because if it's very big, it is bigger than the context size for that AI can take in. But how are you going to process the chunks if it's just a numerical form of data that is coming in
Mm-hmm.
and it involves time aspect into it? It's a complicated field today. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, definitely want to go into level four.
Yep.
Let's go to level four, and then I'll ask a few questions that come in my mind.
Yeah. So level four is boring, but that's what will get you a job. So level four is the like now AI, okay, it answers questions, it can do stuff for me. The core question remains how correct it is. Is it like even in the right track, or how
Mm-hmm.
can we evaluate it? That's level four. So level four is like mostly like evals. Today, uh, I think like in my company, like we talk about this a lot. Even today, eval is a nightmare. It's not a solved problem yet because it's so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll ask this, right? Like we'll think from what do I mean by that. So let's say if I ask a question, write an email saying that I won't be attending this webinar today. Let's say something like that, uh, and it writes an email. So if it's a numerical answer, you have a ground truth and you can compare, hey, 3 should be the answer. You gave the answer as 2, and we say 3 minus 2 or something, and like say, it's not possible. But you have a ground truth which could be something, and AI gave an answer. How do you evaluate this is the right answer?
Mm-hmm.
Or like it could be a better answer than your actual answer that you are prepared for. So it's kind of like we'll go back to like school days, right? When we have like fill in the blanks question or like choose the best answer question, it was much easier to just put like get marks and go with that. So we always like that. But whenever there is a 10-mark question, 15-mark question, 16-mark question, right? Like we tend to have a key points in mind and we like let's fill those key points and we'll just get marks and move on. So AI is kind of like that, right? Like now, what do you evaluate? Do you have like set of key points and say these are the words that I'm expecting in the output and say it's correct, this is wrong? If that's the case, what if AI is more creative and gave a better answer for your use case? Or what if like it exactly tricked you with all the key points the way we did in our school days, right? Like so it's so complicated with eval. So the layer four is that. So building an AI evaluation system and making sure the output is correct, the output is in the desired format, and like it's kind of like a monitoring observability and evals for AI.
Hmm.
So this is the boring thing you can do. It's like you're not innovating anything. You're not just connecting to your email and sending replies, but you're correcting that. You're saying that okay, syntax system is ready. Let me go and make sure that it's giving a right answer. It looks boring, but since it's a problem everywhere, so whenever someone's trying to hire an AI engineer, your core responsibility is going to be this. So I
Hmm.
spend most of my time spending on the evals.
Hmm. By the way, loving the analogies. They are very helpful in helping people understand. The latest analogy reminded me of my English teacher who's grading our compositions. Srilata ma'am, if you are watching this, hi. I don't think so. But uh, it just reminded me of her. But I think it is interesting what you say because I think we've come to level four. And I think just from the answers of these levels, I get to understand whether I'm a data scientist or not a data scientist as to what I need to build to showcase that I'm ready to get to an AI engineering position. You said most of your time is doing evals. One, what does that mean? And two, how can somebody who is a data scientist or even a software engineer right now build that skill where they can hit the ground running when the time comes?
Yeah. So obviously, it goes without saying that if you are to build the skill of layer four, you should know layer one, two, three, because everything is dependent on layer one, two, three, and you're just evaluating all three layers here. So in layer four, even if you have to evaluate this, by the way, like all the layers that I mentioned are something that I came up with so that you can follow a structure. It's not like the industry is following these layers and they talk about layer four. Don't go and tell there is layer four of AI. No one will understand what you're talking about. Tell them it's evals, tell them it's observability and stuff. But I'm just trying to put a checkpoint for what we're talking. But yeah, coming back. So level once you know all three levels for layer four, maybe I can give you an example. You might already let's say if I tell you this is the problem, AI is giving an output. How do you evaluate the output is correct or not? A way to do that is who corrected our papers. Your English teacher corrected your paper, right? Which means there is another person sitting there evaluating the output. That's how you know someone is correct or not. It's not like done automatically, right? Now, what if we go and create another LLM and ask this LLM to say, hey, this is my desired output, this is my current output, and these are the set of rules that I'm looking for. Can you go and check and see how good or how bad it is? This is called LLM as a judge. So you create a judge, LLM as a judge, and the name itself is called LLM as a judge in the industry. So you create that and you take that as an eval. There is pros and cons with this because like it's kind of like a chicken and egg problem here because you now you create another LLM. How sure are you that this LLM is good enough in judging? This might be the next question. So it's not a very best solution, but it's a decent solution right now. At least you can control this LLM as a judge with the prompts that you're giving and make that evaluated. So right now, a lot of people are using LLM as a judge to do the evals, but this so evals is like more than a it's more of a business skill rather than a technical skill because you already know how to build the AI system because like eval is another building another AI system to evaluate it, but now you have to understand hey what the user is expecting, like what kind of output are we expecting? Should output be long, short? You should understand the user. Like uh, as an engineer, now you have to start thinking from a user perspective. Now you have to start thinking from like a business perspective to even build this eval system. So as a skill set, technically you should know all three layers, and you're just gonna take the label out, put a new label, and call it as an eval system. You're just building another AI system to do the evaluation, but now you bring in all your user skills and business skills inside when you do this.
Very cool. It reminded me of that Spider-Man meme, right? Everybody
Yeah, yeah,
pointing to each other.
exactly, exactly.
Okay. I think I think now is a good segue into project building. I mean, this is in a way project building. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be like what you've shared so far isn't what project building is all about. This is what you want to build.
Hmm.
Now, let's say again, let's get into the shoes of this person who's a data scientist or a software engineer, because I think we still have to talk about somebody who does not code. I mean, that's a
Hmm.
different segment altogether. By the
Hmm.
way, I want to understand what your time bandwidth is, because I think we are already close
No,
to our. Okay,
I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah.
great. We'll go longer because I think what you're sharing is excellent.
Thank you.
By the way, I hope a lot of people listen to this episode just from the standpoint of learning what you are sharing here. Let's then talk about project building. As a way to showcase credibility, you need to have something that shows rather than tells that you have that
Yep.
knowledge, you have that skill set.
Yep.
You have helped a lot of people who are in these shoes of a data scientist or a software engineer trying to prove that, hey, I have what it takes to get to this level of being an AI engineer.
Yep.
How would you, what would be the roadmap for that use case?
So I would say like to be a really good AI engineer, you should stop thinking like an engineer and start thinking like a founder. So
Mm.
like you and I run a program like Weekend Program, you know that.
Yeah.
So in that the thing that we follow very closely is like I'm not trying to promote, just like trying
No,
to
promote.
say my
No,
mindset. Yeah.
promote. I know a lot of
Yeah.
times, we are like, oh, I am not promoting. No, dude, promote. I think that is a valuable thing that you're doing. So please speak out loud on what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So a mindset that we follow over there is like we don't just learn the technical side of it. We think like a founder. See, we go and pick a problem and we solve that problem and we put the final product in front of the user and ask feedback from the real user. And so I preach this, like I was like, if you are building a product, you should never start building the product or a project, right? You should always start from the problem and the user, at least spend like 1 week doing that. And after that, now you have a better understanding of what problem there is, what kind of user there is who might use this solution that you're building. Now go and build that solution. Now with all the layers come in, layer one, layer two, layer three, layer four, you build all these things. Now you will build a better product because you spoke to the end customer already. You know what the problem is, why you are solving it. There should be why is very important here. And after building it, another important step is going back to the same user and giving that product that you built to the user and asking for feedback and use that feedback to improve your product, obviously. So this is the methodology that I always ask everyone to follow. So if you are a data scientist, right, doing this might be a little difficult because like finding data science problems are very difficult. Like there are many problems, but using data science to solve that problem is like very niche. I've tried to do that, but it's very difficult. But AI, you take any problem and you put AI to it, that you can you can do some sort of solution using AI. That's why you see a lot of AI companies coming out today, and that's why like there are like a lot of startups emerging because of that, right? Like this is what I if you are building a project, let's do this. Don't start building a project at all. Don't try to build another chatbot. Don't try to build like, hey, note taking app. Don't do that. Go talk to the user for a week, come back, note it down, just fall in love with the problem, never the solution. Now you build what you think is the right solution, which might not be true, but you still do that. Follow all the layers. As I mentioned, sorry, I'm reiterating, but like you go to the user back and get the feedback. This is not something an engineer does. You have to have that entrepreneurial mindset to go and do this. But with AI, I think the difference between entrepreneurship and engineering is kind of like the line is getting blurry because both of them are problem solvers. Now, since AI can code everything for you, the building part was so much easier. An engineer is someone who's should be uh, good enough to talk to people, understand their problems, and all those things, which means technically you're an entrepreneur.
By the way, that is a great skill to have. Like entrepreneurship. is such a great skill to have if you want to get yourself promoted in your organization. I was able to be partners, a partner at my company, just surely on the back of being an entrepreneur and doing marketing and doing sales while I was also doing my engineering work. By the way, we are getting amazing questions. I mean, they are different, so I will take them on in the end. I want to stick with this here, like building a product that
Hmm.
solves a problem.
Yep.
And that problem can be anything, right? It can be something outside of the industry as well. It can be something that related to your hobby. I am helping a product manager, senior product manager who's at a Mang. They are creating a tool to use how to optimize using their travel miles. And they are
Hmm.
creating an AI product just for that, just to showcase that they have that talent, plus help them with this product. So, should you would you rather take a industry problem or a hobby based problem, or it doesn't really matter you're trying when you're trying to showcase the skill?
I would say, I mean, I can go deeper. Like if you are trying, depends on your goal. If you're trying to get
Mhm.
a job, just any problem that you're gonna fall in love with, that is the right answer. But what if you fall in love with both problems, like enterprise problems or also personal problems? Uh, Typically, now if you want to make money, solving enterprise problems will give you more money. But if that's not your goal, it doesn't matter. You can build any problems as long as you like it. You should. That's what. Like again, you should not force yourself to go and do this. You should genuinely care about, hey, I want this problem not to exist in this world starting next month, and let me put my time and effort to do something about it. And that's the mindset that you should have when you start this. If you start with that mindset, you should like it, obviously, otherwise you can't do it. And if you like it, I'm pretty sure you're not gonna give up until you solve that problem. Even if you think the entire project is a failure, uh, you're still going to reiterate it because the problem is not solved if it's a failure. So that's the thing. Like I think like I see this character in like in everywhere, like in an engineer, entrepreneur, creator, influencer, everyone does this, right? Like I've seen it in you, Varun, like this nature. I've done this as well. I've built multiple ventures before, and every venture, if you think about it, the core problem is still the same. But the ideas and solutions keep changing. Even the my real product that I mentioned, the course that I mentioned, is just another way of me solving the same problem. So I think that's what will drive people to do this. I know it was super technical until now. I started making it philosophical now, but that's the point, I guess.
No, I think it's not just philosophical. Yes, there is philosophy here, but you also mentioned about starting with a problem, thinking like an entrepreneur, and then spending at least a week understanding the problem, understanding the customer. That is great. You understand the problem, you understand the customer. Now, how do you build this product?
Yep. Oh, you want me to answer that? Okay. How to build that? I mean, without reiterating, obviously the four layers, follow the four
Yeah.
layers, and try to give a solution for that. But
Maybe let's choose an example. Let's
okay.
say I
Mm-hmm.
have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
My daughters come to me every day asking for coloring pages, printable coloring pages that
Okay.
then they color, right?
Okay.
I want to solve that problem more quickly because right now the workflow is that I go
Mm-hmm.
to images.google.com, I write coloring pages and whatever theme that they are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is this never ending loop of 5 minutes where they have so many options that it takes them a while to understand. I know this is this is a problem at a very small scale, but how can I use AI
Mm-hmm.
to just say, okay, coloring page time, probably give it a theme, and then
Mm-hmm.
I get two or three good options that they select from, or it doesn't even give options, it just prints. I mean, that might be a different problem and they'll throw a tantrum, but
Mm-hmm.
that's an example. How would you build a product based on this
Yeah.
problem statement?
First is user interview. I should talk to your
Yeah.
daughter. So, but yeah, let's say let that happens first. But
Yeah.
like then what I'll do is I'll go with this approach called MVP. You know
Hmm.
this concept,
Yeah.
right? The Pareto principle. Like you
Minimum
spend,
viable product.
yeah, like the Pareto principle is you spend just 20% of your time getting 80% of the things done. I follow that. So I just built a very basic version, which I don't have to spend a lot of time because the first time when I'm building it, I'm gonna assume a lot of things because
Hmm.
the user hasn't seen the product yet, which means
Hmm.
I'm just gonna assume a lot of things. I'm gonna do something, build something, and which might not be the case that user wants. A better way to do this, let me not put lot of let me not assume a lot of things. Let's build a very basic version of the app and go and give it to the user and see how user reacts or how user uses it. So
Hmm.
maybe whatever you mentioned, I wouldn't even do 4 layers when I'm doing this
Hmm.
first time. I would just do the
Hmm.
layer one. Layer one, why should I do layer two? Like I just do
Hmm.
layer one, put it out and see if the user likes layer one or not.
Hmm.
So in your use case, since we have an example, as you mentioned, maybe I'll just build a wrapper around image generation tool or something. I'll
Hmm.
just say that I'll just give multiple options and you give me an outline of a picture for this in a white background. So, I mean, Gemini can do that. Nano Banana can do that, right? Like instead of
Hmm.
going to Nano Banana, I just like put some prompts and stuff. It's a very lazy way to do it, but that's also the right way to do it for, as an
Hmm.
engineering perspective. You just put it
Hmm.
together, let the UI be bad,
Hmm.
let the UX be bad. Doesn't matter as long as it solves the basic main core problem.
Hmm.
If you think, take it there. I'll go back to your daughter and say that, hey, when next time whenever you wanna do something like this, just go and generate all these things. It'll give you all the images. Send these images to Papa. I'll take a printout of that and give it to you. Right? Like
Okay.
it's not the right, it's not the best way. You're not gonna
Hmm.
become a $1 billion company by doing this, but that's where you
Hmm.
start. Now
Hmm.
you start now you will get some sort of user feedback. The user will
Hmm.
say the image that it generates looks shit, right?
Hmm.
Your daughter might not say that, but like if the user says that, let's say something like that feedback comes. Now I'll try to understand. Okay, what kind of image that it should generate, or how can
Hmm.
I optimize the prompt, or what if why should I go on to take a printout every time? Why
Hmm.
can't we make it an agentic route and connect my app to the printer? We have smart home everywhere, and say whenever
Hmm.
the user says okay, it should print it out and give it to me, right, or something like that,
Hmm.
or just create
Hmm.
a basic workflow.
Hmm.
So now we didn't use layer two, but we jumped to layer three and we just used it.
Hmm.
Now we just have a
Hmm.
little bit complicated version of the same app, and
Hmm.
if we improve the prompt, now user experience is better because now there is your daughter doesn't have to come to Papa. She can like directly go to the printer and take it out. No, you're
Hmm.
not like now two problems are solved in this
Hmm.
case, right? You just
Hmm.
reiterate like this, and
Hmm.
eventually, you have a very good product that you might even can go to VC and pitch and get 500K for this, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and guess who's going to do the eval? My daughters are going to do the eval. That okay? Is this right or not? But I think so. What I'll paraphrase for everybody, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, is that
Sure.
understand the user problem first, create an MVP using level one or level two. It is okay for it to be shitty. It is okay for the UX to be bad at this point. You're just
Yep.
generating more feedback.
Yep.
Take the feedback and improve on the product to go to level three.
Yep.
And level three, and a tool that you use to build level three probably is good enough to get yourself into interviews and to talk in interviews, and then you can always talk about your eval philosophy or the skills that you have or something that you try to do within
Yep.
this product to
Yep.
showcase like literacy of being an AI engineer. Do I get that correct?
Exactly, exactly. And it might look like a long process. Now you might think, hey, it's not like I'm going to sit and do this forever. Like, looks like a long process. But what people have to understand is you don't have to build hundreds of projects. Focus
Hmm.
on quality, just one project, put it on the
Hmm.
resume, don't put anything else. It's fine. But this one
Hmm.
project should define you. It should say everything that you've done. It should speak about evals. It should speak about level three, level two, level one, user journey, the user feedback, everything that you've done. Now there is no way they can't hire you because like there is one project. That one project defines you, and how long it's gonna take, it depends. But it can be done as fast as like 3 to 4 weeks, even if you're doing it for the first time. If I do
Hmm.
it, it might be faster because I've done it so many times. And same goes with you. If you build a second one, it might be faster than the first one. But the first
Mm-hmm.
one, as fast as 3 to 4 weeks, including learning the skill to do this. Right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so that is really fast. People spend 4 years learning college. So 1 month is
Mm-hmm.
not a big deal. Yeah.
Very true. I'm going to take a few comments and questions now before I
Sure.
finally will end with how a non-coder or a non-data scientist, non-software engineer, how can they be more AI literate? But
Sure.
let me just take a few things because people have been commenting. I want to give them their flowers. So the
Sure.
first question that I wanted to share here is this one by Darshi, which is AI is going to take entry level jobs of most of the analysts as vibe coding is getting viral. How to get ahead and be in the market of AI and avoid job loss? I mean, you kind of answered it with all the levels, but if and is there anything you wanted to add here?
Yeah, obviously. Like I answered the second part, but the first part is real. Like forget about entry level, remove the word. It is taking away jobs. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen senior people getting fired because of AI. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen people not hiring. So the reality is people are not getting fired yet because of AI, but like people are not getting hired because of AI as well. Because there are not many openings today because people are being so productive and effective that the businesses don't need more people to come and work. So it is true it's happening, but how to get ahead is first accepting the fact that it's happening instead of denying it. And number two, to do something about it. What can
Mm-hmm.
you do is like, since someone put this comment, that she, right? She's accepting it. That's good numbers. Step number one. Step number two is could be the following all the layers, making sure if AI is getting ahead, right? You be the person to understand the bottlenecks of AI. So even in
Mm-hmm.
this session, I might have mentioned the evals is a difficult problem because I know AI is not good enough to do that. I also mentioned like with the temporal data, it's not good enough. The AI is not good enough yet. So if you closely work with AI, you will know the bottleneck of AI. And now you bring in that skill, which AI can't, but eventually AI will come and do that. But you should be the person who is giving that skill to the AI, which means you are always going to look for problems and you're always going to like fill in the gaps that AI could never fill. So let me rephrase it this way, right? If you do that, you might be the last person who will be losing the job in the AI space.
Very cool. I'm going to the next one. I have a comment here which says somebody's really enjoying the session. They have worked across different projects: dog park, translator, real time financial dashboards, travel concierge, AWS automation. They've learned that evaluating AI output systematically is key. Eval not only helps improve model accuracy, reliability, but also demonstrates practical project based experience. You mentioned how for getting better at evals, you have to think like an entrepreneur who's
Definitely.
solving that problem that the product is solving. So you know what kind of an output the customer is looking for. Is
Yep.
there any technical knowledge you can learn to be a better evaluator or build evaluators? Because you already mentioned that now you have LLMs doing evals as well.
Yeah. I would say technically, like you should be good in building systems for this. Like
Mm,
you should know what is CI/CD, which is like continuous integration and continuous deployment, which is like whenever you find any problem with the eval system or the production environment, what if you have a system which is on prod, which is this, following the CI/CD standards? So if something is a problem, what if it goes and fixes the prompt itself, right? So this requires little bit of system thinking, and you should know how to build workflows and system for this. So your software engineering background will help you to do this. So that's why, like I mentioned at the start, like you have to be a good software engineer to be a good AI engineer. So technically, yeah, you should know all these things, and you should just know how to build systems. Yeah.
nice. Is the AVA system actually close to the concept of a multi-agent system?
No, I wouldn't say so. So multi-agent is like having a primary agent, and the primary agent will trigger multiple sub agents which will go and do its own tasks, gather stuff, come back and report it back to the main agent, and the main agent will do its task, right? That's how a multi-agent system works. it could be one of the sub agents could be an eval system, maybe, but it's not like interconnected.
Okay, interesting. We have Rahul, who mentions great initiative. Project building bridges the gap between domain expertise and AI mastery, turning doers into deployers. That's great. A question here is, how are you blending sequence DBs with vector embeddings to supercharge domain specific RAG agents in bootcamp projects?
Oh, in bootcamp projects.
Mm,
First of all, it's not sequence, it's SQL database.
mm, mhm,
So the domain specific is what you define. A domain specific could be your life. We can call it a private database, right? It
mhm,
doesn't have to be domain specific. Let's say I'm building something for the user. Let's say just for me or for the user. What if I build a RAG based database using my all my data, all my emails, all my LinkedIn messages, all my WhatsApp messages? Now I have all these things. If you're going to ask ChatGPT, it doesn't have that answer, but I have the answer because I have the database. So this is a RAG agent that you can build, and it's not domain specific, but it's just private data. So
mm,
I would ask you to start thinking from a private data perspective. It doesn't have to
mm,
be domain specific, but it can be domain specific as well. If you're taking care of a healthcare or something, why I'm emphasizing this is in 2023, maybe this was a thing. People were building like domain specific databases, RAG, and all those things. But today, a general purpose model is really good that you don't need extra data to work well, but it could never have your private data. So you can always use that as your leverage and build RAG systems using that.
This is great because one of the biggest things that my mentees benefit from my prompts versus somebody else using my prompts in the job search niche is that inside my program, we create a document called Why, How, What. I've talked about this also online, where you look at your projects and create a narrative style. Why did the company do this project? How did I execute it on it? What was the benefit of that execution? Now you
Mhm.
have a private data RAG in a way that you are feeding every time, unless you are in that same chat, which has memory to it. You're feeding that every time. So, yeah, I can totally attest to the fact that normal models are great. You have to think about private data in a way to build the next level of your output that you
Yep.
need. That's kind of level two in a way.
Yep.
All right, another question. As someone who's been building innovative AI projects, again, I think the dog bark translator, which I think is pretty cool. I'm curious, what are the best ways for people like us who are open to opportunities to get recognized and stand out for AI roles in the industry? Probably a marketing and positioning question.
Yep. I think he's already good at it. He didn't just
Hmm,
ask the question, he validated why he's asking the question and he's asking the question. Sorry, he
hmm.
or she, I don't see the name.
Yeah,
But
nor do I.
yeah. So yeah, you're already on right track. So I don't think I can give any advice on top of that. Do show the validation, show that you can do things and have some proof. That's it.
I think this is somewhere that I can add to this answer, right? Helping technical people position themselves strongly, communicate their work strongly is the core of what I do with them. You have multiple opportunities. You can think of it being one to one and one to many. So it can be one to one where you are building relationships with other AI experts or hiring managers in the industry who are creators by just showing up in their comment section and adding valuable understanding, just like you are here. And you can literally call out saying, oh, in this project where I created a dog bark translator, this is what I did, and that matches with what this person is saying. So that can be one to one where you are showing up. It is kind of one to one and one to many, but in a way, you are building a relationship with that one person. And then it can be one to many where you are building in public. So you are not only just building, you are writing how you're building in public, just like Hari and I are doing, which is if I'm building my business, I'm building in public by sharing strategies that I'm using inside the business. Hari is sharing his immigration journey, his engineering journey. So this is a way to build in public, so that now when Hari has his next tool that he's building, that he's very coy about right now, but something he's doing on his own, he has an audience ready to consume that information. So that's how I would think of it, one to one and one to many, if that helps.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll continue on. I think another kind of statement, maybe. This reminds how tools like Kiro help people like us build and iterate innovative projects. I reason why I highlighted this is because I haven't heard of Kiro. Maybe you have.
Oh,
What
I
is that?
haven't. It looks
Okay,
familiar, but I haven't. Let me check.
okay. I'll let you check while I also look at other questions that have come up.
Mhm.
Yeah, here's another interesting one by Srivatsan. Can you give any examples of good projects to take up in order to exhibit AI ML skills with depth? Currently working as a data analyst, learning ML, and doing DSA on the side.
A good project is something that you can do to bring most impact, I would say. So I mean, without going philosophical here, but one statement philosophical is like, as I said, take a bigger problem and try to solve that problem. That is the best project that you can do. But if you ask me to list the set of projects that you have to do, which is not the right way, I don't think like even if I list the projects or something, right? You think that is the right project to solve, but if you're not motivated enough to solve that, then that's not the right project for you. You're not going to get a job by solving those. So I can still list. What I would do is,
Let me
yep,
interject, Hari. Give
yep,
me examples of projects that the students inside your programs have built.
of course. I mean, I already like. I think you asked me to take a show a list, right? I have the list here. I can show you. So let me. Can I share my screen quickly?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, feel free.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it. Let me see if I can make this. It might be a good scene for us. Uh, okay, maybe I. All right, never mind. Let me go back. I'm still learning this tool. But yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, you can see it right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so like this is like a wall of fame that we have with cool projects that people have built. I'm not gonna show the demo because you can go and watch the video if you want, myrealproduct.com/slash wall of fame. But so I can tell you what these people built. So this one is like called Tensor It. So one guy he came, so he criticized the LinkedIn influencers. He is like everyone who puts a LinkedIn post is making it so complicated. I don't even understand what is the jargon, what is real, and all these things. So he built a Chrome extension which runs parallelly on the side. So whenever there's a LinkedIn post, it reads it and it rephrases the LinkedIn post in a way that it removes all the jargon and stuff and just shows the bland actual fact that you want to consume. This is one of the projects. You see, right?
Nice.
These are the projects that you could never come up by sit and thinking. It's more of like,
Yeah.
hey, I have this problem, let me go and solve it, right? And
Yeah, who would think of coloring pages for their daughters, right? Only
person
yeah,
who's
yeah, person who's
going
going
through
through
that,
that. Yeah.
yeah. Then this is Companion, it's like a chat bot for your wellness.
Mm,
Like it's like a therapy bot sort of.
mm,
And
mm,
this one is like a smart bill. So what these guys built is like uh, so like every as a student, international student, you know this. Every time you get a bill, let it be the T-Mobile bill or your mobile bill, Wi-Fi bill, like your water
mm,
bill and everything. Sometimes there might be sometimes like you just like might be overpaying on something, or you
mm,
might be like even every dollar counts as an international student, right? So these guys build like I think they just went with phone bills. If you are paying extra, it will give you if you just upload the bill, it will give you ways that you can reduce the bill. Like it
mm,
will maybe recommend other provider, or it will be the same provider, but you missed this offer. Maybe you can go and claim it. Sort of, they built it that.
mm, mm,
And this is like a NutriScan is like a AI shopping app, and
mm,
it's like a expiry genie. It's like a tracker, kind of like a notion or like productivity kind of app. And there are many. I just listed few here. So one common point with all these is uh, people built an app to solve their problem, or at least a problem that they had with the users that they spoke to, which is very close to them and what resonated with them. So again, that's why I'm not going to list the problems that you are going to solve.
Hmm.
Like if you think you don't have a problem, it doesn't matter. It can be as small as, hey, tomorrow I set an alarm for 7 o'clock. I'm not able to get up. That could be a problem, as small as that. Or it could be as big as, hey, let's send people to Mars. And people are
Hmm.
solving that, right? So it
Hmm.
doesn't matter. If it's a problem, it is a problem. Go and solve it. Simple.
Nice, nice. I mean, sometimes you need to kind of remove friction from
Mm.
actually taking action. And that
Yep.
includes not watching a lot of YouTube videos. Obviously, you need to learn, but I do see a lot of these posts like, okay, these are like 10 videos you need to watch. And I'm like, oh, damn, if I have to watch 10 videos, I'll go crazy. Uh, on that, there are a couple more questions. Let me get to them quickly.
Sure.
So one person said, you said you will be sending aggregated results to our second system in order to improve first model's output. Isn't it a contradiction? Maybe you understand this better, but I think it all goes back to an LLM evaluating another LLM's output. Maybe that's what this person is coming from, but it could be something else as well.
I think so. Even I don't understand. I don't know when I said aggregated results. But if that's what you mean, you can clarify. But if you mean like using another LLM to decide what happens to the first LLM, it is a contradiction. That's why I said that's a bottleneck.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with the second LLM, maybe you can have more control. Maybe the first LLM could be an agent. That agent you can don't have to control it. You can have it more flexible. The second LLM could be something that you give set of rules and prompts to control it, and that way it still could go wrong, but it could not go as wrong as the first LLM. So you can still evaluate the first one.
Interesting. I think this is also another question which a lot of people have is that I think talking to users before building anything is solid advice. Where do you find users who are willing to volunteer time for this? That's something I've always struggled with.
Believe it or not, the users are right in front of you. Like if you have a problem, which means people who are living in your society has the same problem. Like let's say we talked about like the phone bill, right? If you are a student, if you are having a phone bill problem, your roommate is going to have the same problem. Just go and talk to that roommate, right? And your parent will have the problem, your neighbor will have the problem. You don't have to be like super like famous to go and get users to do this. That's step number one. Step number two is just go and do cold outreach. Go and see who could be the target audience and go and text them saying that, hey, can we talk? I'm building a project, I'm doing some research. Can you help me with that? Most probably they're going to say yes, or do it until someone says yes. That's it.
Sometimes you can also go to sites like Quora and Reddit
Mm,
to get qualitative responses. If
yep.
you are trying to solve a problem that a book has solved, you can go to that book's Amazon reviews to see what kind of problems it solves. I mean, there are
That's
creative ways
clever.
to do that. You can
There is
ask
one more
AI.
creative way. There is one
You
more
can ask
creative way.
AI how to
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
obviously. This is something that we do in my real product in week one. This is the
Yeah,
easiest way you can validate whether the problem is worth solving or not.
yeah.
Before solving it, start selling it.
Hmm,
Create a landing page, create
hmm,
a form where saying that, hey, sign up for the wait list.
hmm,
Explain the entire problem, the hypothesis that you have, put it in
hmm,
a website, and just start sharing it as if you already built it.
hmm.
The more people signing up for this just tells you that there are more people who are going through this problem.
And then sometimes you are building this product to showcase your skill. So let's say after a week you still are struggling, just use qualitative data available on the internet and just start building. I think it depends, right? If you're really building a product, you can't really skip this step, or you can't shortcut this step. But if you are building skills to showcase in an interview setting, then use these other creative ways to kind of get to the data. Maybe ask ask your chatbot to go and search for qualitative responses or pain points. It will give you sources. Maybe you go to those sources and you can get those data. So spend some time, do deep research, but don't let it kind of stop you from actually going to the next step and building it. Am I right in saying that, Hari? Or that's a leading question, but anything to add or edit or subtract here?
I mean, I would take the harder route. I understand the point, but in this case, I wouldn't go for a workaround. In this case,
Hmm.
it's very important to talk to people. I mean, I respect that opinion that you made, but I think we should not take shortcut here because
Okay.
because with AI also, right? Like if you start talking to AI always tries to please you. So if you
Yeah.
say, "Hey, is it a problem?" It will say it's a problem. Can I
Yeah.
solve it? Yeah, you should solve it, right? Like it will always be like that. And if you seeing online is a very good way to understand the scale of the problem, but it wouldn't
Hmm.
tell you the actual problem. It wouldn't tell you. You can't interview with those people who are talking on
Hmm.
online. You can still
Hmm.
text people. Let's say hypothetically you saw someone on Reddit who's mentioning this is the problem. Just go and DM them. If they reply, just talk to them on text. That's fine.
Cool. I think at this point, I'll stop taking more questions. We
Yep.
definitely wanted to wrap up at the 1.5 hour mark at least.
Yep.
What I would do here next, Hari, is to kind of make sure that we touch upon this one thing before I have like some casual rapid fire, like 3, 4 questions.
Oh.
So
Oh.
not a lot of, not something that will put you in the spot. Uh, the last question I have is, let's say I am not a data scientist. I am not somebody who codes or understands coding. I mean, I know many mechanical engineers who have not coded for years and years, but they want to make sure that they are not left behind by not knowing AI. So, what would you suggest to them based from your vantage point? How should they prepare to not be left behind in this race?
Yeah. Like fun fact, I was a mechanical engineer. I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering. But yeah, so I think we are living in an era where that doesn't matter. Even today, software engineers are using AI to code most of the time, but the skill that they are bringing is they know what it spits out. So that's
Mm,
what their skill is. So if you're a not coder, there are many no code tools, which one of the tools that you already mentioned, N8N. Just go
mm,
and learn N8N. N8N is like a backend, it's like a no code tool that you can use it to build backend stuff. You can build
mhm,
workflows, you can build any sort of backend. Uh, which will give you the programmatic thinking, right?
mm,
Once you have the programmatic thinking, maybe just learn Python. Python is the easiest language that you can build.
mm,
So just learn the basics of it and start building it. So I've seen a lot of people, I've helped a lot of people who are like project managers, product managers who never written a single line of code, but
mhm,
all it takes is like watch a basic video and start playing around with it because AI is there to help them any step and they're just using that to build it really
mm,
fast. So
mm,
I would, in simple words, if for instead of roadmap, first the motivation is you're in the best era that even if you don't know how to code, it's easier to get started to code or find alternatives to code. A few alternatives are that could be the roadmap. First step is find alternatives. N8N is an alternative. There's another thing called Bubble. It's like a no code end to end app. You can build front end and back end using no code. And
mhm,
then go for like all these AI based coding agents like Lovable, Replit, all these tools. These will help you to build uh, using just prompts. Then go to the final boss of understanding what this AI spits out. Go and
mhm,
read them, try to understand them. If you don't use that same AI to ask, hey, what's happening here? Why this is doing it this way?
mhm,
Eventually, you don't have to learn entire code that's coming out of it. As long as you know the structure, as long as you know why something works the way it works, you're good. And you can definitely follow this step by step process, and eventually you will become a senior AI engineer. That's what I did, I guess. Like I was a mechanical engineer, became a data scientist. Now I'm talking about coding, which I never thought I would speak about.
Very cool. Very, very cool. The There is a way if you want to find it. I think that it all boils down to it. Yes, there will be some hesitation, some nervousness about being in a new field that you don't have a lot of idea in. But I think what you said could be the bottom line, which is just start and have fun with these tools. And you can have fun internally. I mean, you can spend 2 3 months just internally uh, checking these tools out before you even commit to building a project and doing
Yep.
user feedback and stuff like that, because there is a wider gap to fill as compared to somebody who knows Python, for
Yep.
example.
Yep.
Cool. All right, let's end with some fun questions. We
Yep.
want to know Hari beyond his 9 to 5 or beyond his technical expertise. I know a little bit of you, so I do come here with some kind of a leg up. But these questions are not questions that I know the answers to, by the way. So this is going to be fun for me as well, which is simple. Favorite movie?
It keeps changing, I guess. Uh, the, I never expected this question in this podcast. So, like, it takes time. Short answer could be I recently watched Memento. I've always heard like Memento as a movie because whenever I speak about this movie, everyone says, "Hey, this is that movie like Gajini they inspired from. They remade it." I always thought, okay, maybe they remade the movie, Hollywood movie, like in India, and it's literally the same. But randomly, I just put it and just watched it, and it was like, this is like 100x better than Gajini, like core concept wise. It's not like a masala movie like Gajini, right? Like I was like, oh, how can one think like this? How can you structure something like this? I was mind blown, and since I maybe it's a recency bias, I just watched it like maybe less than 6 months back. So yeah, I really enjoyed the movie.
The way that movie is cut, it is equally challenging as an
Yeah,
LLM evaluating the other LLM.
it's
Okay.
more challenging, I guess. Yeah,
Your go-to cuisine if you have to go out and eat.
Indian,
Wow,
always.
surprising. So tomorrow is going to be my first non-Indian person on the podcast. So far, everybody has said Indian, by the way. Everybody.
Yep.
So very interesting.
You
Do
should,
you?
if you're talking to an Indian, you should make an exception asking apart from Indian, what is the next one? Right.
I no. The reason why is I'm happy with this answer. It goes
Mhm.
to show that if we are Indian, we love Indian food. So be it. I'm okay with that being the answer. Next question. One book that has really influenced you. It may not be the best book on this planet, but one book that has really influenced you.
Hmm. Uh, okay. There are many again. I'm still thinking, trying to get the best out of this. Sorry about that. Uh,
Just shoot out the names that are coming to mind. It's okay if you don't
okay.
give me one.
Oh, okay, then like I think what is that? The weekend book. The guy, the Absumo guy, he wrote a book, right? Startup Weekend, I
No,
guess.
Noah
That is
Kagan. Noah
yeah, yeah,
Kagan. Millionaire
yeah.
Weekend. Millionaire Weekend, something like that.
Something like that. Something with
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
yeah, yeah,
Startup
yeah, yeah,
Weekend or something. That is
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And start with Y, I guess. No, that
That is
something like
the
that.
Simon Sinek
Okay,
book, I think.
okay.
Cool.
And many. There are many. There are many. It keeps coming. So
Okay. Last two questions. Uh, f- do you believe in God?
no.
Okay. Very interesting. We'll
Yeah.
dig deeper on this in the future episodes. Uh,
Spiritual podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
The last one is, if you had to give everybody who's watching a challenge around this topic that we've discussed today, something
Mhm.
that they can do inside 2 hours this weekend, just 2 hours, not more, but gets them started. What
Hmm.
would be that challenge that you would pose to them?
I've done this before. I give challenges and I have a challenge, but I'm not going to give that because I've given this many times. I would say open innate. It's the easiest workflow builder. It might be intimidating, but just play around with it. Don't even watch a tutorial. So let's do this, right? Don't watch a tutorial at all when you do this challenge. Forget about
Nice.
tutorial hell, no YouTube, no blog, nothing. Use
Nice.
ChatGPT if you want. So take innate pick a very small problem, which is the layer one, right? Just a ChatGPT wrapper. Pick a very small problem, build a layer one ChatGPT wrapper using n8n. Don't try
Hmm.
to like do anything fancy, and you don't need UI or anything. Maybe for the UI, if you want to take user input, you can use Gamma. You might be familiar with it, building like slides and stuff. You can build a landing page too, build using that. And for the output, maybe just send an email, collect the email from Gamma, run the N8N workflow, and send an email to that particular user. What is
Hmm.
the problem? You decide. I can give you an example. The challenge I generally give is resume roast. The user comes in, uploads their resume, and give their email ID, and this workflow runs, and they'll get a roast of the resume in the end in their email. This is a it's not a problem. This is a fun project that I generally give as a challenge, but you don't have to do that. Instead, go and build something else that you really want. That solves some fun problem or just a layer one, and don't watch any tutorial. That's the main thing. You figure it out.
Very cool.
Break things and figure it out. Yeah.
Very cool. Very awesome. And I think doable in 2 hours. In fact,
Yep.
I'll go on a limb to say that this is a challenge I will do as well, because I haven't played around with N8N yet. I do feel
Okay.
behind the curve, but it goes to show that there are many people who still haven't gone to that level yet. I have created custom GPTs. I
Mm-hmm.
have given AI my training data and build a custom GPT around that. So I think I'm at level two there. But this level three agents, that's not where I've gone as well. But we've
Let's also
taken,
give one more challenge, right? With that,
okay,
once you do it, you post about it on LinkedIn and tag me and Varun over there.
that
And
would be awesome.
yep. And let's see who builds the best workflow.
Okay, very cool. Don't spend more than 2 hours. If we are choosing the best workflow, we have to kind of constrain that.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, just go ahead and do that, and I'll make a submission as well. That's a promise. So that's an awesome challenge. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, Hari. I'll give you the last word. Don't hesitate and definitely promote what you are doing. People need to know what
Yep.
you're doing and how you can help them.
Yep, sure. First of all, thank you. Thank you for having me here. It was really fun. And it didn't feel like 90 minutes for me. And I hope it didn't feel the same for people who are watching, by the way. But yeah, I had fun. Like, and I like the last part, especially the personal questions. Maybe I should start asking this, get inspiration from this, start asking this in my podcast, I guess. But it went well. Like, what I would say, last words. So I have this quote or have this like mindset. Since your questions were in that area, I want to tell this. Just because you spent a lot of time doing this, doing something, shouldn't be the reason that you should stick doing the same thing forever, right? Try to explore. If you think there is a better way to do something or better career opportunity for you, better job role, or better anything, just be ready to pivot and don't even think about like something is holding you back or something, right? And do that. So my career is filled with pivots. I've always pivoted till now. Even now, I'm in the pivotal stage that I might share really soon. So just go for it. And since you're, let me promote. So we've been talking about AI, and I run a program, a weekend program called My Real Product. If you watch till now, you know why I named it My Real Product. So like it's like a 4 week program where I help you whatever I said till now. Understand the problem, talk to users. You ask someone ask how to talk to users. So like people who have joined, they build like 50 people in the wait list before even they build it, and they don't have big following or anything. So I help you to do that. I help you to build that layer one, layer two, layer three, not layer four yet, but I can help you beyond the scope like of that and go to like deploy it. We didn't talk about it, but I help you deploy the product and finally get to the user. You just take 4 weeks to do this, the entire thing. So go to myrealproduct.com and you'll find it there. You'll see a big video of me talking again. So don't get bored of it, but we can talk if you book a call with me over there. And that's pretty much it. Again, thank you, Varun, for having me here. Um, it's great. It's great. And it's great that I have to appreciate you for something. I've given interviews, I've taken interviews. I've never got went like so technical into it. Like I never explained four layers in a podcast. Like I've written blogs about it, I've written LinkedIn posts about it, but I never talked about it. And I don't think any like lot of people are covering this, like getting into depth instead of just focusing on that horizontal breadth, right? And kudos to you for like bringing this. And by the way, we didn't plan. I don't know, like Varun must have did lot of homework to build an agenda for this, and it was great. And thank you for having me, Varun, again.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for that compliment. I am doing more of these sessions just from the standpoint that I feel there is a learned skill and an innate desire to kind of just ask really good questions and to be the conduit that goes from okay what Hari has in his mind to what the Beyond Grad community or even your community for that matter get benefit from all the things that you've been sharing. Thank you so much again. We should stop at this point, and if there are any other questions, if they are uh, job related, data science related, AI related, please go to Hari. If they are job related, how to communicate your top performance, how to be really good at interviewing, feel free to send me a message.
Yeah. And don't forget the challenge. Do
Don't
the
forget the
challenge.
challenge.
Yeah, do the challenge and post on LinkedIn and tag us because Varun just mentioned you should build in public, you should market yourself. This is take off this as a first step to market yourself. And good luck.
Awesome.
Bye.
Awesome,